Here's the bottom line to all of this political correctness that is really just authoritarianism. The power structure, the foreign banks that are looting this country and every other nation have the same playbook. They come in and use divide and conquer and get everybody obsessing over stuff that doesn't even exist or that is petty at best, so that we're all obsessing on fighting with each other via divide and conquer, balkanization, instead of coming together against the foreign banks that are looting us and against the federal government that are acting as mercenaries for this interest to prosecute a war against our very basic liberties. This system of political correctness is a frontal assault on free speech. The Pentagon is telling soldiers that if they're evangelical Christians, they will be arrested. This is beyond the Soviet Union. When are we going to realize the threat is the tyrants pushing political correctness? These people aren't well-meaning liberals. They are conscious authoritarians who know exactly what they're doing.
To build a better world sometimes means tearing the old one down. And that makes enemies.
The much-anticipated Captain America 2, Winter Soldier, is coming out in April of next year. And I've got to admit, I'm a fan of Captain America and some of the ideas that are in the original comic. But more and more, it's been turned into a politically correct system to sell propaganda. And that may be why the franchise has been in deep trouble. That's admitted. But this new trailer is simply amazing. And before I went out and found the spoilers online that break down the plot, I knew instantly when I saw the first trailer that just came out what this is all about. And if you read the New York Daily News and others, they say they don't know what it means. It's confusing. There's nothing confusing about it. And before I even looked up the spoilers, so this is a spoiler alert, I knew exactly what was going on because it's so clear. Hollywood knows what we're hungry for. We know that corrupt elements have taken over the government. We're aware of this, and that's what the film is about. At first, Captain America says this is tyranny, this is corruption, and he's told by his boss and also Robert Redford, who's his government handler, that to build a better world, sometimes it means tearing the old one down, and that makes enemies. And he says, that doesn't sound like liberty, that sounds like fear and tyranny. And then his old boss begins to wake up, so he is wounded, almost mortally, and Captain America begins to wake up, and he's on board the big SHIELD command ship and has to take out a whole group of traitors. When that happens, suddenly the bad guys that have been staging terror attacks come after Captain America, and he doesn't know where the assassin and others are coming from and who they work for. Of course, they really work for the director of SHIELD. SHIELD is the shadow government led by Robert Redford, who just so happens to be the villain.
We're going to neutralize a lot of threats before they even happen.
I thought the punishment usually came after the crime.
SHIELD takes the world as it is, not as we'd like it to be.
This isn't freedom. This is fear.
And they're staging these events to get the Western world to give up their liberties so that they can offer them security, a.k.a. our government running and creating and fostering and funding al-Qaeda and allowing them to attack us as a pretext to take over our lives and our world. And this is what Hollywood's doing more and more as their anti-liberty franchises fail. Now, when you watch mainline television shows, it's anti-liberty, anti-gun, anti-family, anti-militia. But more and more in big films like The Last Superman, they've got to give wholesome messages because they know that they've lost the body politic. The group collective and the people are waking up.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Well, you heard it here first. Captain America, Winter Soldier, is all about doing the right thing and being a patriot, even when it's unpopular, and risking your life to do it. This movie's fantasy, but right now, good men and women in our military are standing up to the public gun confiscation plans that are being promoted by Obama. Obama is preparing our military for a civil war with the American people. It's important we openly discuss this so they're unable to launch this conflagration. Americans need to come together around the Bill of Rights and Constitution, not give the offshore tyrants a civil war as a political distraction. Why is nascent iodine so important?
Nascent iodine is so important because it goes directly to the thyroid. It's not bonded to a salt, which means it doesn't have to be broken down, and it's the most usable form. It's what the body uses. It's what the body is designed to use. If you have low energy levels, if you have pains, if you have thyroid problems, if you don't feel up to par, well, they've proven now that the fluoride and a lack of iodine causes a decreased IQ because you have all this stuff that builds up inside your system and builds up and builds up. And that's why some people, when they start taking iodine, will have what's called a Herxheimer reaction or a detoxification reaction. But that's a good sign. That means you're detoxifying all that fluoride buildup, the mercury buildup in there, the bromine buildup in your system, and the chlorine buildup in your system. You don't want those things. All of those things have been proven as carcinogens. That's one of the reasons prostate cancer is on the rise too, is because prostate takes up iodine, and the men that are lacking iodine causes the prostate to become cystic and causes the prostate to swell and eventually leads to prostate cancer. There's been an extreme rise in polycystic ovarian disease, PCOS, with women, fibrocystic breast disease, because iodine is stored in the breast tissue, the ovaries, the prostate glands in men. It's utilized by every single cell in the body.
Why does this almost taste good compared to other iodine that tastes horrible? That's because it's real iodine atomic form.
We wanted something that's going to go straight into the bloodstream and straight into the thyroid gland. We wanted to put it in a vegetable glycerin base. That's a USP kosher certified vegetable glycerin base. And that product is not tested on animals. It's vegan friendly. It's gluten free. It's GMO free.
Of all the things I've done, nascent iodine was just absolutely amazing. So we developed with Dr. Group a double strength, low price. InfoWarsLife.com, Survival Shield, the atomic nascent iodine, available right now.